That is a really nice Celica build right there. One of the cleanest of that type I've seen. That dude's got some money in his ride. I don't know if he's FI or not. Haven't seen it run around ever. Nice, so I like it. Guess where we are? 350Z codename Killer update at Courtright Automotive in Utah. As a summary, we hauled this car all the way back from California where it died, and it died hard. There's a video or two out on that, go check it out. It was a forced induction STS rear mount turbo 350Z, and the engine just went. Let's take a look at the front clip here. Oh! It's been up on the rack for a while. As Ryan pulled the motor, and we're going to talk to him right now, get the lowdown of what happened to Killer, why did it die, what happened to the motor. Say hello to Ryan.
Hello.
So, motor's out.
Motor's out.
Look how clean this thing is. It's like a new car pretty much, right, Ryan?
Yeah, it's in good shape.
Except for the motor.
Yeah, some small problems. Got that engine out over here for you. Show you what happened to it.
Okay. I was suspicious of oil starvation, the way it happened.
There was an oil starvation issue. It's kind of one of those chicken or the egg things. It's hard to say what occurred first. You can see right here though that the crankshaft is broken. It's actually in two pieces there, so you can see how the number 4 and 5 cylinders move independently of number 1, 2, and 3 and 4. So these journals are oiled through the crank, and so when the crankshaft broke, there's no oil getting to the rod, the main bearings on the crankshaft, which caused the crankshaft bearings to stick to the crank and then spin in the journals. This is the journal main bearing cap for the number 2 bearing here, or number 3. You can see the scoring that's happened on the block where the bearing's been spinning, and there you can also see where the retaining tab is broken off. So this was actually spinning around with the crankshaft in the block instead of being fixed to it and having the oil in between the crank and the bearing. You can see that oil feed right here, where the oil is supposed to come out of that journal and then lubricate the bearing. With the crack right here, the oil would have just been spilling out of the side of the crankshaft instead of lubricating this bearing. So I suspect that the crankshaft broke first, probably just due to the force of the power that the car was making. Most of the force down here at the end of the crankshaft, you know, it gets multiplied every time another cylinder is added. So down here there's quite a bit of leverage over the crankshaft, and these cranks are pretty thin. So I don't think it could handle the power that was being built. Cracked that crank over time. It probably had a little small stress fracture that fatigued it, and over time it just worked its way through and cracked, and then caused the oil starvation issue on these number 2 and 3 bearings that caused it to spin. Those main bearings. So we've got some options as far as repair goes, but this current build is definitely done. It's at least going to need a crank and some.
It's done. This thing's dead. The block and everything, you're saying?
I think the block is pretty toasted. Although there isn't oil or damage of oil starvation or anything evidence in the top, you can see the cam surfaces are still good. The cam bearings, I did pull some of the cam bearings out, and I didn't see any evidence of scoring, so I don't think any debris or material got up into the top end. But I definitely replaced the oil pump and that. I think that it was a failure of the hard part first, and then it caused the oil starvation in these 2 bearings. I think the oiling system, because I don't see anything, throughout the rest of the oiling system evidence of oil starvation. Typically, the main bearings are one of the highest lubricated joints, so if we were seeing an oil starvation issue, we would typically see in the top end more likely some scarring on the cam bearings. Where the cam bearings look fine and normal, I think that it was a failure down here first. That didn't get to the point where these got damaged on the top end.
Well, it's as bad as we thought it would be, right? The
Broken
engine's
crankshaft.
dead. Just completely dead.
Done. Well, it can be saved. We could. Everything's fixable. Just depends on how much you want to spend and What do you want to do with it after this?
You want to buy this car from me, Ryan, and you can like make money off it? You can fix it up and sell it?
Maybe. We'll talk.
Oh, seriously?
That's a sweet car.
It's a sweet car.
I wouldn't mind having a sweet car.
And guys watching this, I love Killer. I love him. But you're looking at time and money. It's like when it broke down, I filmed that video in California. And I was so bummed about it. Here we are at the reality of getting it back on the road.
How many miles does that car have? It's like 34,000.
Like 33,000. 2006 is probably one of the lowest miles these in the country. 6, yeah.
Sweet ride.
So,
What's up with
options.
the suspension? It's all worked.
You did the suspension
It's
for
all
me.
worked, yeah.
So it's got a stance coilover system dialed in by Ryan himself, and it is sweet. The suspension on this is perfect. Everything was perfect actually, except it built boost pretty slow with the rear mount system.
A little bit of lag with those rear mounts.
Options.
Lots of them. So
Option 1 is junking it.
yeah, you guess you could scrap it. That would be sad, but
Part
it's
it
an
out.
option.
I could get 10 grand off parts.
Yeah, you could part it. You could fix that motor, putting a new crankshaft in it, new bearings. The block is questionable as to whether it could be repaired, but there's some that say that it could be fixed. That would be the cheapest option. I don't know if I'd recommend trying to salvage that block. The other options would be to put a new Nissan long block in it. You still have a stock bottom end, also the likelihood of breaking that crank again is still present in the future. I don't know how long it survived with this current build, but you probably want to detune it a little bit if you did that. The other option is to go with the aftermarket long block. You're going to have a little better warranty, but the strength issue is still going to be there.
What kind of parts does that build use?
They're just going to be stock parts.
That are reworked, rebuilt.
Yeah,
Who knows what you
reconditioned.
get? You get something like that.
Most likely they're going to be, have suffered some kind of catastrophic failure, and if it was a crankshaft, for example, it's probably been reground and it's going to be a little smaller diameter. We're talking 30,000ths of an inch, but it's going to be a little smaller than an OEM one. And even the OEM remanufactured Nissan long block is probably going to have suffered a catastrophic failure at some point. So the other option would be to get a new block and do like a stroker kit in it. Brian Crower makes a 4.2 liter stroker kit that's a forged billet crank and forged rods and forged pistons. That would be a permanent solution to it.
Other than the transmission.
I think a forged crank is what it needs to be a permanent solution with the current power package it has on it.
Could you do a forged crank with the Nissan build, or does it just come already in the motor put together?
We could add a forged crank to the Nissan OE motor. It's an option as well. That crank is kind of spendy.
Yeah.
It's the most expensive part of that, but you could do that.
What would you do if it's your car?
I'd put it back together. Beat the hell out of it.
Would you?
Yeah.
It sure is fun when it's working, dude.
Yeah, I would put it back together. And
It's a
drive it
beautiful
hard.
car. I see I got a new dent in the door over here. I haven't seen that before. That one right there? I'll have to pull that. That's about the only dent on the whole car, actually.
That's pretty straight.
So what we're talking about here is graduations of money, just like most things in life, right?
Yeah.
It starts out low and goes really high. And
Boys and their toys.
I'm not going to throw prices out on this video because it's none of your business.
what
Just
they
know
say.
it's a lot of money.
The only difference between men and boys is the size and price of their toys.
And the sad thing is, I'm committed to it because it's such a nice car, you know. So that's your update. I still have to do some thinking. Ryan and I are going to talk off camera about money, basically money and options. You know, putting a lot of money into it doesn't make me excited. Not so much. Hey, you should just buy a Corvette Z06, brand new one. Roger that. Give me your credit card. I'll ring it up. The new Vets are cool. The new Camaros are cool.
Yeah, they are.
The new Camaros are great cars. The brand 16 Camaro. They're very cool.
Having a black on black one.
All right, so there you go. It's not necessarily good news. It's basically what we thought. That motor is completely destroyed. Crankshaft broken, oil starvation is the issue. Chicken or the egg, you decide. The results are the same. I'll make some other videos if and when there's interest and I decide what I'm doing with this thing. I may just tow it to the junkyard and get rid of it. See it.